What's going on, you guys? TBR here, back yet again with another King of Fighters All-Star video. In today's video, we are going to be talking about the newest battle passes to be added into the game, the Chizuru Lucky Chance event in-shop items, and letting you guys know whether or not those things are also going to be worth your money. And yes, we are going to be talking about that King of Fighters 15 trailer. So with all of that being said, you guys, smash that like button and subscribe if you're new here, and let's go ahead and get into the video. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Happy Friday. TBR here. In today's video, like I mentioned in the introduction, we are going to be taking a look at the newest KoF battle passes in today's video, as well as the in-shop items for the Chizuru Lucky Chance event. Figured that we would go ahead and break these things down in today's video, as the battle passes were just added into the game late last night, and when it comes to the Chizuru Lucky Chance event packages, we didn't get a chance to talk about those in yesterday's video, so we're going to go ahead and break all these things down today. And then yes, of course, who would I be if I did not go ahead and talk about that trailer from last night that SNK dropped on our heads at the Game Awards, because yeah, you guys, that was the most expectation-shattering trailer I think I've seen in a long time. So we're going to talk about it, but before that, let's go ahead and get into these packages, and let's go ahead and start off with the KoF Battle Passes. So this time around, of course, we are going to have two different tiers. We're going to have the Special Reward 1 and the Special Reward 2. The Special Reward 1 is going to be your Minnow or Dolphin package, and as you guys can see here, this time around, we are going to be seeing a pretty darn similar package overall to what we've seen in the past. So for those of you who have never seen these before, basically this is what you're going to be getting. You're going to get a bunch of AP, which is always nice. You're going to get 400 rubies. You're going to get a bunch of gold. You're going to get some Element Soul selection boxes. You're going to get a bunch of tokens for your unified banner in the form of 5 single summons for both banners respectively, as well as 2 multis respectively for those banners. And then you're going to get 120 auto clear tickets for $5. So when it comes to this package here, my recommendation to you guys, if you're brand new to the game and you don't really have many characters, then this might be worth it because of the multis. Otherwise, this thing, in my opinion, is a big fat skip. In my opinion, $5 isn't that bad for a price point, but when it comes to what is in here, the value proposition really isn't all that great. The unified banner at this point has become a bit of a meme, especially considering the fact that we just came off of one of the best collaborations we've ever had, and if you are brand new to the game, you likely already have a pretty nice little account set up for yourself if you were pulling on those banners. So the unified banner really isn't doing you a whole lot of good outside of just getting characters for niche uses here and there, maybe for typings, for reviving Hell's Dungeon, or whatever the case may be. And in general, a lot of this stuff really isn't going to be worth the money. So in my opinion, $5 isn't that bad of a price, like I said, so it is cheap enough to make it a warranted purchase if you decide to go that route. But in my opinion, if you're anybody beyond being kind of a beginner, then I don't think it's really necessarily going to be worth spending the money on. At that point, you could go ahead and spend your money on something that is going to offer you a little bit more value, but at the same time, it isn't like this is a terrible value for the price, but I wouldn't recommend it personally at the point that I'm at in the game. So if you're a veteran, probably not something that is going to be worth your money. Now, when it comes to the other one, though, this is of course going to be the $50 package. Now for $50, you would think that they would have given you a chance to get some of those Chizuru event coins in here or something in order to try and move some of these, but it does seem as though Netmarble has no idea how to market. So at this point, I'm just going to go with the fact that I think that somebody over at Netmarble that is making these decisions just doesn't know what they're doing, and we're just going to go with that. So with that being said, it explains exactly what's in here, because really what you're getting here is exactly what we've been seeing in these packages, or at least these passes, for a while now. So you're going to get 1,000 AP, 4,000 rubies, you're going to get 5 multi tokens for the unified character banner. You're going to get a bunch of your Awakened Tier XP capsules in the form of mystery boxes. You're going to get 200 of the Plus capsule selection boxes. You're going to get even more of the Awakened Tier XP capsule boxes. You're going to get 5 boxes for the Element Fest memory selections. You're going to get a Fest Fighter selector for Volume 14, so it's up to date. You're also going to be able to pick up 2 memories. You're going to get an Attack Plus Imprint Stone selection box. You're going to get a Moon and Star Plus Imprint Stone selection box, and if you take a look at this thing here, go through here, yeah, they're all silver ones, yay. Then you're also going to get 100 rare enhancement hammers and 20 elite enhancement hammers for $50. I would pass on this. I don't think that you should be spending money on this. I think that in general, we all need to kind of send a message to Netmarble on these passes and let them know that if they want us to pick these things up and purchase these things, it's not that we are necessarily completely shut off to the idea, but at the same time, it's kind of like what we saw with the Guilty Gear pass a couple of weeks ago, or heck, even less time than that, actually, a couple days ago at this point. When it comes to this, you know, with that one, we ended up recommending it to a lot of people because that had a lot of value in it for what it was. And again, it was themed around what was going on at the time in the game. And this battle pass here, I'm going to tell you guys right now, I think that what they do is they repeat these battle passes or throw kind of the exact same content out with these battle passes to us, just because they're banking on, hey, even if 5 to 10, 15, 20 people buy the thing, you know, hey, that's better than if we didn't have a battle pass out there at all and nobody bought it. So we're just going to repeat the same thing over and over and hope that people spend money on it. And in my opinion, I think that that is just silly. Netmarble could definitely put a lot more effort into these things, and honestly, at that point, it wouldn't even be that much effort involved. You would just need to go ahead and try and theme it in some way, shape, or form around what you're doing at the moment, outside of, I don't know, just putting like a JPEG of Bijanet looking adorable right there. I mean, that doesn't count. So, you know, at the end of the day, even though the value proposition of what's in here is technically good, I don't recommend this because a lot of this stuff is just stuff that you could honestly grind or collect or farm. And when it comes to the stuff that you couldn't necessarily do that with, or the stuff that is really going to be sought after here, like the rubies and so on, you're better off buying a different type of package or something along those lines if you're in the market. So in my opinion, you guys, pass on the passes this time around. Again, I'm not seeing anything here I'm impressed by. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and give these kind of the atypical pass on the pass recommendation this time around. So now when it comes to packages though, we do have other packages to talk about. So we are going to go in here now and we are going to talk about the Lucky Chance event shop. So I had briefly touched on this yesterday. So when it comes to the Chizuru Lucky Chance event, basically you're going to have 26 total slots on the board, meaning that with the worst possible luck, you are going to need to roll on that thing 26 times in order to guarantee one of those Chizuru coins. So keep that in mind as we go through here and look at these. So with that being said, let's go ahead and start off with the cheapest one and we'll work our way up. So for $4.99, you can buy this package up to twice, and you are going to be able to pick up 160 paid rubies, for whatever that means, and 160 free rubies, whatever that means, because last I checked, you don't get that 160 rubies unless you buy this thing for $5, so how are they free? Netmarble logic. But when it comes to the main event of this thing, you get 500 of the SS Chizuru event coins, meaning you get 5 rolls on the board for $4.99. So basically you're paying about $1 per roll, and you're getting some rubies sprinkled in there. So with that being said, I'm going to go by Netmarble's rules and say you only get 160 rubies for $4.99 because apparently you get those other ones for free somehow. Jokes aside, with this one, for $5, I guess if you're a super fan, like if you're a big fan of Chizuru, this is okay. However, if you are a big fan of Chizuru, in my opinion, you're better off going for some of the higher priced ones. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys I'm recommending that you spend money on this event. This isn't something I am going to be sitting here and telling you guys how to spend your money in. Like I always try to do with these package breakdowns is I try to just kind of break down exactly what the value proposition is with this stuff so that you guys kind of have a better understanding of what you're looking at. And for $5, you can basically take a look at this versus what we just saw with that battle pass, and yeah, you kind of see what the difference is there as far as the value proposition is concerned. They definitely value the rules on this Chizuru board quite a bit. So for 5 rules, like I said, if you're a super fan of Chizuru, I would probably recommend that you parlay that $5 into one of the better packages that we're about to talk about. But if you are on a super budget, or at the end of this event, if you need just a few more rules to potentially get Chizuru to like the next awakening tier or whatever the case may be, then that is going to be something that you could consider at that point. But honestly, this package here, I would say, is probably going to have very low value proposition for the price, considering the fact that there are just going to be better packages for the Chizuru event that we're about to talk about. So that is kind of what I'm seeing there. So as we move up here, you guys will see, so with this one here, we definitely get a lot more rubies. We get 1,600 total rubies this time around, and then we also get 1,700 of the event coins, or 17 rules on the board. So this is almost an entire board clear, not quite. Like I had mentioned, it is 26 total rules on that board, with the worst luck if you consider the fact that there are 25 slots on that board plus the Chizuru one, so 26 total. So in general, if you guys were to pick this one up for $20, not necessarily the worst value in the world. You are going to be able to pick up 1,600 rubies, so that isn't too shabby. It's just shy of 2 multis for the fighters. So in general, I think that this one is going to be just better overall than the previous one that we talked about. So really, it just kind of comes down to how you want to spend your money. In my opinion, though, if you are wanting to kind of get a cheaper version of one of these packages, this is probably going to be the most minnow or dolphin friendly of all of these. So this is going to be the one for the minnows and the dolphins if you're really in the market, that I would recommend, and that is pretty much what I'm seeing with this one. Now, for $50, we see a pretty steep jump here, over double the price. So what do we get for that price? We actually get a decent amount here. So you basically are going to get 4,000 rubies, and right off the bat, 4,000 rubies for $50 is not bad at all. Actually, if you guys remember back to what we just talked about with the more premium $50 battle pass, that also had 4,000 rubies for that price. So not too shabby. It's kind of akin to what we are used to seeing as far as the amounts for these $50 tiers for any of these packages. So you're going to get 4,000 rubies, and then you're also going to get 4,000 event coins. So you're not only going to be able to clear the board once with those 4,000 event coins, but you're also going to be able to clear it almost a second time. You're going to be about 10 or 11 rolls shy, again, with the worst possible luck. So with that being said, this one here, if you are a whale, and you don't need me to tell you how to spend your money, and that's, again, not what I'm trying to do, but if you are a whale, this is probably one that you are going to be taking a look at. This is quite a few rolls on that board, and in general, it is definitely not going to be that shabby. The problem that you start to run into as we get up here at these higher value passes, or not passes, but packages rather, is that when you roll on that board, say for instance you were to pick this one up, and like I had mentioned, you could basically clear that board 1.5 times. Even if you were to pick up, say for instance, 2 shards or 2 of the coins or whatever you want to call them for Chizuru, you still would not be able to craft a memory or craft her at that point yet. So that's where it starts to get murky with this thing, in my opinion. I really do think with some of these packages, you're probably better off just waiting till the end of the event. You can buy this one up to 2 times. Now, I'm not going to recommend that you even buy it once, to be honest, but if you're planning on spending money on Chizuru, if she is one of your favorites, I would wait probably till the end of the event to kind of see how things turn out. Wait until you see kind of what is happening with how well you've been able to do with that before spending the money on it, because you want to at least wait to see how well you can do with that thing for free before you spend money on any of these. In my opinion, I think that that would be the smartest route to go. However, if you are a whale, this is definitely a pretty good little package, especially for the price, because once we go away from this one and get to the next one, which is going to be the last one that we're going to talk about, the price really does jump up quite a bit. So as you guys will see here, this is going to be the final package for this. So you are going to be able to get 6,500 rubies total or so, maybe a little bit more. I'm just rounding there. So it's about 6,600 rubies. So definitely a lot of rubies. And you also get 6,000 of the event coins. You can buy this up to twice, but it's $80. So basically with this one, if you're a whale, this is the best value. This one definitely is going to offer you the best value total. I mean, it's $30 more. You're getting about 2,500 or 2,600 more rubies, and you're getting 2,000 more coins. So you are going to be able to basically go and run through that board entirely a little over 2 times. So definitely going to see quite a few returns there, especially if you don't get unlucky. And that's the thing with any of these things. The RNG is such with this event to where you could pick this up and you could end up getting 4 or 5 shards or coins or whatever for Chizuru, or you could pick this up and only end up getting what you're guaranteed with the amount of rolls that it offers you and end up getting 2. So at the end of the day, it really comes down to your luck as to whether or not these things are going to offer a ton of value, and that's not something of course we can gauge. But if you're a whale, these 2 whale packages are definitely not too bad. But at the same time, again, you guys, whether you're a whale or not, I do think that, you know, just from a common sense standpoint, it's probably best for everybody to wait until the end to see what they end up with before they make any sort of financial decisions like that. I mean, if we're talking the $5 one or whatever the case may be, then that's one thing. But once you start talking about spending $50 or $80 on this game for something that you could potentially get lucky and just get for free, I would say that you want to take advantage of that and try to wait and see. So that's pretty much what I'm seeing with this, you guys. Now, when it comes to the Lucky Chance event, we had talked quite a bit about it yesterday. You know, when it comes to this thing, as you guys saw in the intro, I did end up getting enough to go ahead and craft Chizuru herself. And honestly, I just did it through going through. I've been doing the imprint stone missions quite a bit, which for those of you out there that are going to have a lot of the Guilty Gear hammers laying around and might have a bunch of the Guilty Gear stones that you had extra from the event, you'll want to go ahead and use those first before you start using your regular enhancement hammers, because of course those are going to be things that you aren't necessarily going to use on anything else down the road anyway, so you might as well use them right now so you get extra value out of them. That would be my recommendation, and that's what I did to get through that. Really, the imprint stone enhancement mission is going to be the best one right now. However, it does cap off. So, oh hey, we got another one, so we can at least get our card now. But when it comes to that, I think that that's probably your best bet. And again, I do think that this is a situation with this board. This thing is going to completely come down to how lucky or unlucky you are or you get with it as far as what your opinion on this thing is. So I do again think that if you're planning on spending money on this event, if you're okay with doing that, that you're better off going ahead and just waiting to see what you end up getting before you spend the money. But that's just kind of my opinion. So that's pretty much the breakdown on the packages and the passes, you guys. But like I said, you guys, when it comes to all this stuff, I just try to give you guys what I feel like the value proposition is. You can decide how you want to spend your money, but at the end of the day, if you do decide to pick any of these up, good luck on your rolls, and I hope you get what you want. So with all that being said, now we are going to do something very rare here on the channel, but something we used to do all the time. We are actually going to segue out of the King of Fighters All-Star and segue into the King of Fighters 15, because for those of you who did not see that latest character reveal trailer that we got last night for the brand new, air quotes, character that will be added into the King of Fighters 15 as early as next week with the next open beta, then for all of you K49 fans out there, you're gonna want to see this. So let's go ahead and take a look.
KoF 15.
草薙ね、別人にしてもうた。てめえの面見てっとイライラしてくるぜ。
Krohnen.
Once the hour is too late, just one way, it's together.
Welcome to KoF, the world's premier martial arts festival. The King of Fighters 15! Get ready for a fight!
So that's where K49 and Nameless have been all this time. They've been learning the Saiyan fusion dance from Goten and Trunks. Who knew? So as you guys can see, Krohnen is basically going to be a merger of both Nameless and K49's aesthetics and movesets, and basically going to be the third attempt at K49. Of course, we had the original K49, who was a bit of a problem due to, I don't know, Akira. If you guys aren't aware of that story, you may want to look into it. There's plenty of great videos breaking the history of that down here on YouTube. Definitely check those out if you're unfamiliar. But of course, then the second iteration was Nameless, and now we have Krohnen, who is going to be a bit of a merger of the two. Aesthetically speaking, Krohnen is going to definitely have a lot more resemblance to K49 than Nameless. However, there are a couple of tiny things here and there aesthetically that do reminisce of Nameless, but for the most part, you're going to be seeing K49 in the design choices here for the character as far as his looks are concerned. He is going to have the same color palette. He's going to have longer hair, but the same color. He's going to have the red cape, although I would argue that the rips in it are definitely going to be more reminiscent of Nameless than anyone. And he, of course, the biggest change here to him aesthetically, he's going to have the goggles, and he's going to be a lot manlier, so he's done a lot of growing up in his time off. But in general, when it comes to the moveset, you can tell that aesthetically speaking, they've moved away from kind of the body horror and the more bio-organic, biomechanical look to him, and they've leaned completely into the more technological, mechanical look to his moves and his overall design choices in battle. And when it comes to his movesets, for those of you who are familiar with Nameless and K49, you will probably notice that there is going to be a bit of a merger of the two movesets here. However, when it comes to the overall animations, they are extremely similar, as you guys will see here. So in general, when this came out, I was really curious to see what the response was going to be from the community, because for those of you who aren't necessarily a big part of the King of Fighters community, the King of Fighters community tends to be a little bit tribal and a little bit tough on some of these new character choices whenever they introduce a new character. But when people first saw this, the hype around this thing was real. There, of course, were going to be the outliers that were out there complaining about it, but at the same time, I think most people were just happy to see that this was going to be kind of a callback to the characters that they had been wanting to see return to the games for a while now. For as much as people out there want to give both of these characters trouble, there are a ton of fans out there of both of them, and taking both of them and merging them, I think, was a really smart choice on SNK's part. But I just wanted to go ahead and talk about this a little bit here, because this is huge news for SNK and the King of Fighters 15. Of course, the open beta is going to be next week, and we can play around with this character as part of that roster, and I'm super excited for that. So you guys let me know in the comment section what you think of all this. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
カンティニュー